good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are. Welcome to this month's OpenText Filr Product Update webinar. My name's Robin Redgrave, and with me behind the scenes today, we've got Girish, who's the Filr Product Manager, who will take us through some of the updates that are happening on the Filr side and give us a little quick view into where we are with the development. And then Satya is going to take us through some of the changes that we're hoping to put in with around the email templates that we've got. And behind the scenes, answering your questions, we've got Mike as always, and Kyle, though I can see Kyle hasn't turned up yet, but hopefully he will. So we've got a track team behind the scenes ready to answer any questions. If you have got questions, then put them in the Q&A section, which is, I think, on the bottom right of your screen. You've got 3 dots, and you'll be able to access the Q&A there. And the if you've any information we need to put in with URLs, we'll pop into the chat window, so you've got those there. So let's just crack on. So going through some events that we've got coming up. For those of you in North America, in mid-November, we got our big event taking place in Las Vegas. This is OpenText World. I'd highly recommend attending that if you're able to. Maybe a bit more centered around the collaboration and file and print and some of the other old Novell technologies. We've got the efficiency tour going around the DACH region, so that's Vienna, Düsseldorf, Essingen. Mike, is that just outside Stuttgart, did you say?
You are totally correct. It's close to Stuttgart. Yeah.
And I dare say I've massacred its pronunciation. And Bergen. Okay. So that's going to be happening the first and second week of November. So if you're able to get to one of those venues, I strongly recommend doing so. I'll pop the URL for that in the chat window in a moment. But some great things happening there. Those are one-day events, and Mike hopefully will be there going through the bits relevant to file and print. And then we also have the Bangalore Developer Conference. This is not for your developers, it's for you to meet our developers. So this, you've got an opportunity here to meet the OES developers, the Filr developers, some of the GroupWise developers, iPrint, Vibe, I think some of the Retain is done out of India, and other products there as well. That's happening on the end of November the 30th, which is a Saturday, going through for 7 days to December the 6th. There are hands-on workshops here, as well as the standard sessions that you may be familiar with. I had a whole list of sessions there, and somebody's taken them out of the slide deck. But there are quite a few sessions going on around file and print. So we've got quite a few around Filr. Off the top of my head, we've got a securing Filr one-day workshop. We've got a compliance with Filr half-day workshop. We have sessions around creating your own SQL reports, doing modifying the UI with Filr, and I'm sure there's some others there that I've left out as well around Filr, but also quite a lot around OES and iPrint on the file and print side. So as far as the agenda for today is concerned, Girish is going to give us a quick update on where we are with releases, and then Satya will take us through a bit on what we're looking at for doing filer notifications. Just at the beginning there, I'll show you what we've got at the moment, because I know many of you are unaware of the options that you've got around email notifications there. And then at the end, if we've got time, we've got some time for Q&A, general Q&A that you can ask as well there. So Girish, over to you.
Oh, sorry. I was trying
Yeah,
to
that's
find
you,
the,
Girish.
yeah, I was trying to find the unmute button. Like it's just I opened the chat window and the participants window just collapsed and I couldn't find the unmute button anymore. Sorry about that. So hello everyone. Good morning and good evening. Thank you for joining this call. So I think by now you have understood the cadence of the releases. So the next one in the line is the 24.4 release. We're getting closer there, and we're hoping to send it out towards the end of this month. But there are also a few other regulation requirements or the security requirements that we have been getting, and that might have to make it into the release. If that's going to be a mandatory thing, then we might probably slip a little bit there. But otherwise, from the changes that we intended to do, we are looking good for the end of the month release. So and beyond that, we will be looking at the 25.1 release. So essentially, the spring update is due, and the spring update is going to be usually involved. So we're trying to see how we can minimize the efforts on doing those spring updates. So that's one thing which could probably affect our other planned deliverables. So but we are mandated to do this update spring 6 for the security purposes. So we're going to be there is some effort underway, but we are not looking at including that in the 24.4, but most probably beyond the 24.4. But there are quite a few other changes that are coming in the 24.4. So Robin, if you could just get past to the next slide. So I mean, at a very high level, so we are enhancing the data leak prevention abilities in the filer. So we're going to be adding the ability to not only block but also warn the users depending on the configuration or the settings done by the administrator or the moderator. We will actually, I think when we get to finishing this, we will show Robin hopefully a full demo of how it could work or how it could be implemented along with the IDOL, which would give you that automation of detecting sensitive information in the files.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get that a demo that the IDOL team can show off next month on the webinar there. Yeah,
so I'm excited and looking forward to that one. So we will see that in action in full. So that's one, and then the external user registration page that I think we sort of like demonstrated that in one of the previous webinars. So this has been coming back at us quite often. So this is to ensure that you either meet the GDPR and also ensure if you're required to provide MFA for external users, then you have that phone number that you need to do the multi-factor authentication. So that's coming in, and the SLES updates are in the form of SLES 15 SP4 updates. So we are not making the we're not shifting the SP. We're going to be staying on the SLES 15 SP4, but in future we are hopefully going to be updating the SLES SP, and a new appliance would have to come out when we shift to SLES 16, or I don't think they started calling it SLES 16 yet. It has been referred to as SLES Next, and we'll figure out and we'll watch out what's that next SLES is going to be. I'll just skip the intro ID into investigations. So we've been doing some investigations on that. So to find out how do we actually integrate Filr into that. But the other interesting fact is that we're going to be offering encryption for the communication between the file servers and the Lucene index server, so which has been going over the plain text at the moment, but we are going to be providing the ability to set it up for TLS communication, so you can encrypt the data going between the Filr and the Lucene servers. And there are also going to be few other changes which are not extensively covered here, but you will when we get to do the 24.4 update webinar, we will cover them all in more detail. So that's a very brief update on where we stand and what we can expect in the 24.4 release. So are there any questions, Robin or Mike, we should be addressing at the moment?
Yes, there is a question about, will DLP include access to external file stores like NSS? So the idle integration, will that connect to the file store?
No, that won't. What the idle integration is going to deliver in the phase one side, and this is going to grow in the future, is just the ability to scan the file store that you've got and set DLP policies based on the content. So blocking you from sharing files that have credit card numbers in, or giving you a warning if it's got an email address in, and you're having to confirm you're happy for that to be shared, or however you want to, whatever policies you put in place. The future things we're looking at with the idle side, things like redaction of documents there, and also the searching, obviously, but those would be happening in the future and not part of this first side.
Tom is asking again, so it's in the first step only for the local appliance file store, right? Or
oh no, this is network file store we'd be looking at.
Okay.
Yeah. So your net folders, your home drive, and so on. So anything that's on an accessible share, be it Windows or
NSS.
NSS.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard NFS.
No. Sorry.
Sorry, it's that German accent that
Yes, indeed. Yes.
confusing me.
Kind of Spanish, yeah.
So yeah, no, it will be against NSS or Windows file share there, or I suppose if you're running SharePoint, we could go against there as well. I'm sure there's a idle connected to SharePoint. Sorry, I misunderstood you there.
Yeah, no problem. And there's another question for Girish from Kevin. He's asking any thoughts on creating 2 update tracks for the appliance yet? One update option for only LTS 0.4 release, security releases, and so on. Are there any plans to do so?
We haven't. We are not looking at that at the moment, but definitely there are some thoughts around how do we address this, and also in terms of the frequency of the releases themselves. But we haven't concluded anything on that yet. So, but at the moment, it's going to be all coming through the same channel. It is to keep this simple and avoid having to update from different channels, and then there will be several combinations of updates that could happen, and we don't want us and also our customers run into issues because of the number of ways in which you can get to a release. So that's the way it is operating at the moment is simple and straightforward, but we understand that's probably causing some churn in terms of having to keep up with releases. Otherwise, you would be classified as somebody who is not running a supported version of the software. But do note that at the moment we are still doing 4 releases, and you would get at least 1 full year of support with any release that you could be on. So as long as you're being able to update at least once a year, you should not run into any support issues.
Yeah, I can see the issue there. If after, what is it, 3 + 2 years, so 5 years, and the 3 monthly or quarterly releases, you'd be having to patch 8 different versions and get those up into the online update for 8 different versions, which I can see would be quite a effort and take development time away from other things.
Right. Thank
Any
you.
other questions, Mike?
At the moment, no.
Okay, so
Robin, I think I'm sort of like done there, so maybe you can do a bit of introduction on the notifications, and then
yeah,
Satya
I will. This, and then we can pass over to Satya. So what Satya's going to take us through is a way we've been investigating on how to do the email templates. And I've noticed that not many people actually edit their templates that they've got there. And hopefully you're aware that you can actually edit templates and have your own look and feel around messages. I just look here. You can see the default messages that go out. I hate the look and feel of these, the default sort of message that we send out. But what you can do is, let me see if I've got let's just bring up a browser. Oop, come out of that one. So if I just log in here. So I'm running a beta software at the moment. A little bit glitchy on the login there. So here, if I come into the administration console, you'll see down here I've got this option for email templates. And as far as email templates are concerned, every message going out has a template associated with it. So shared file invite, shared folder invite, self-registration, notification of upload, and so on is all in here. And you may think, oh, I don't want to edit all those templates. You don't actually need to edit all of them, because we do have a footer template and a header template. And this is using a technology from Apache called Velocity. And we'll just have a look at some of those templates in a moment. And you also do have a styles template that you can edit as well if you want to update any of the standard styles that we've got in there. So just to show you what we've got there. So as far as the header template is concerned, in this case, you can see I'm just inserting a graphic here embedded in the mail, and also notice that I'm centering that. The footer, I've got the close of that center, and then just a legal disclaimer in this instance. And in the email styles, I can modify the styles that are being used in the template. So whatever the default style is, I can update here and modify for my own use. So just show you what we've got with those templates there. And I apologize, I'm not a great graphics person, but hopefully you'll see here, you know, I've got a graphic in at the top there. And now I've got that legal disclaimer down at the bottom. I've centered the message. And to me, this sort of looks far better than that default message we had there. Of course, you can make this email message look how you want. You can put links in there to terms and conditions, or links to your main web page or what have you, and put your own information on there and your own graphics as well. So if you want to understand how to do that a little bit better, then do get in touch. We have done webinars on that in the past, but it's all fairly straightforward stuff. So that's what we've got at the moment. But for a number of reasons, we're looking at replacing that in the future. So, Sata, let me just make you the presenter. And you should hopefully have an option.
Yes, Robin, I'm able to share my screen. Let me just take over from you. So, hello everyone. Hope you guys are having a
See your
good day.
screen there, so that's great.
Yep. So I'm here to explain about Thymeleaf and why we are migrating from Velocity to Thymeleaf. So let me just sharing my presentation. So earlier we used to use this thing called Apache Velocity, which was the previous email templating engine that was used in Filr. So now one of the main reasons that we are moving from Apache Velocity to Thymeleaf is the reason that Apache Velocity is a blocker. From Spring 5 onwards, it is being removed and it has already been deprecated. So with Velocity, when we upgrade to Spring 6, it would stop working and that was a blocker. So that is one of the main reasons we are moving towards Thymeleaf. And so basically when we were planning to implement a new email templating engine, there were two options present before us, the Apache FreeMarker and Thymeleaf. So there was a case study done between the both, like comparing the advantages and the disadvantages. And then we can see that Thymeleaf came out on top. So we did go with Thymeleaf, and that would be a new templating engine. So I worked on moving the code from Velocity to Thymeleaf, and I'll be explaining it to you how the new templating engine works and what are the changes, major and minor, that the new templating engine will be used for, or like how it will be used. So let me just start with it. So first, let me give you a comparison between Velocity and Thymeleaf. So before Velocity used this custom Velocity type, like .vm file uh, for the email templates, but in Thymeleaf, we can use native HTML and .txt files for the templates. So basically, email is sent in two formats, the HTML format and the plain text format. So before Velocity, we could do it in the same file in itself. Thymeleaf will not be able to do that because Thymeleaf, what we do is we use HTML file and we embed Thymeleaf elements in them. So in Velocity now, as Robin just explained, how there is like a header and footer file. The same thing goes with Thymeleaf, but the problem is in Velocity, we used to process those files separately and then patch them together while sending it. But then in Thymeleaf, we can just embed the header and footer in whichever template that is needed. So that is like a better option and like a better thing compared to Velocity. And when coming to Velocity, we used internal CSS, as how Robin mentioned. There is a file called style.css. But in Thymeleaf, what we are doing is we are using inline CSS, meaning for every element, HTML element, we are mentioning the style over there itself. That is the industry standard practice, and that is what we would recommend from now on. We can use internal CSS in Thymeleaf, and it does seem to be working fine. But there are some cases when internal CSS does not work. Like for example, you forward an email. It seems that Gmail strips the Gmail client strips the style tag, and basically you're left with like a plain text format instead of a proper HTML styled email template. So one more major difference between Velocity and Thymeleaf is that in Velocity we can like implement some of the backend logic in the template in itself, but in Thymeleaf we are not able to do that. So what we are doing is we are processing everything in the backend, whatever variables are needed, whatever is supposed to be displayed in the backend, and then we are just sending whatever is needed through a variable. So this makes the code more uniform, better understandable, more understandable and stuff compared to Velocity. So as I said before, Thymeleaf has like works with HTML files and .txt files. So one advantage is that it does use the concept of natural templates. So HTML file, you just open it, you'll be able to preview it in your browser, which was like earlier not possible with Velocity. So let me just give you the advantages of Thymeleaf. As I said, the main reason for us would be like we need to upgrade our Spring version, and that is only possible if we move away from Velocity, as it is a blocker. And then, as I mentioned before, Thymeleaf does use HTML file rather than a custom VM file. So styling new templates or like working with the templates that are present would be easier for you guys and like more understandable. The learning curve is like very less. And then one more major reason why we wanted to switch to Thymeleaf was there was this requirement for inline images. So previously, what we used to do is we used to fetch the image from an internal link and then show it in the emails. Right now, that is what is happening. There is some problem with it. I'll be explaining it further, but Thymeleaf does provide inline support, inline images support. So that is what we are aiming for in the future. And then coming to fragments. So Thymeleaf has this thing called fragments. So like how there are like methods or functions in a programming language. Thymeleaf does something called fragments, and fragments are basically like a method, like a Thymeleaf method, which can be like used anywhere that is needed. Like for example, you have some styling that you need to implement in each of the templates. You don't have to keep writing the code again and again. You can just specify it in one file, and then you can just embed that fragment wherever it is needed. So that is one huge major advantage of Thymeleaf. That is how the header and footer is implemented in Thymeleaf. I'll be showing you the demo. And one more advantage is that Thymeleaf does have a big community support. So any problem that is there, most likely there should be a solution present in the internet. So I did speak about advantages. So let me just tell you about the challenges or like small drawbacks that I would say. Nothing like breaking, but it is like a bit of a hassle. So I did say we are using inline CSS instead of internal CSS. So it is necessary that we do mention the styles in every HTML element that is there. So this is necessary to ensure that the email is like uniform looking everywhere and does not break. So this is the industry standard practice, and we are following it. And then one more thing, as I said, the reason is that we need inline images support. So the problem with Filer right now is that the icons that are being used in emails is of the SVG type format, and we cannot embed SVG formatted icons using inline images. So we are having a workaround that designers are working on it, according to what I know. So that would be implemented soon. But as of now, icons are working, but it's just not inline. So as I said, even the logic needs to be handled in the backend before we set it to a context variable and then send it to the email template. And one more thing is, as I said, we are using two files instead of one, a HTML file and a plain text file, to create two different views. It is not much of a hassle. It is actually more uniform, more organized, if you ask me, but we do have to create double the number of files. So let me just give you guys a demo. I just want to mention that the functionality does not change. The functionality, we are trying to keep it the same. However, emails were working before, that's how it is supposed to be working even now. So functionality wise, there is not much change, but I'll just show you the demo. So we have a user two. Let me just send a reminder or file. As you can see, we did receive the email, and it looks exactly how it is supposed to look. As of now, we haven't updated the templates. according to what I know, the new templates are already here, and some of the templates are already here. We need to update it to new looks according to open text designers and policies. We are like planning to upgrade it in the near future. So as you can see, I just shared the file. User admin has shared the file to user two. You can see that everything looks as it's supposed to. And as you can see, even when you switch it to plain text, we can see that there is the link and the expiry, like the amount of time there is before it expires. So let me just give you another example. So this is a data quota exceeded notification. So even this is sent through Thymeleaf. And let me just switch it to plain text. As you can see, it works how it is supposed to. That is what we were aiming for, to ensure that there is like a smooth transition and nothing breaks as such. Uh, so when coming to, like, imagine you have a custom velocity template present. So you need to manually move it to Thymeleaf because there is no like actual tool that we can use to like move it. But it shouldn't be that big of a task because there is like a lot of similarity between Thymeleaf and velocity. So the internet would be enough for you guys to move any custom templates if it is present. So let me just give you a glimpse of what is happening in the backend. So, we do have a new file called Thymeleaf, folder called Thymeleaf, which has all the templates, the new email templates. So as I told, we do need two files. I'm just taking the example of shared entry invite. This is the template that gets invoked when you share a folder. I mean, share a file. So as I said before, this is the previous VM file, the velocity file. So what happens is in the VM file, the style.vm, basically the style CSS file is getting passed. And then with the class, it just gets automatically set. And as you can see, it is similar to HTML. And we do need to use this special method called escape HTML to place the variables in the template. And as you can see, this whole part is the HTML part. We do have custom method to check if it is HTML or not. Then later, this part consists of the part that gets displayed when you move to a plain text view. So as I said, in a velocity file, both the views are uh, being compared or like is placed in the same file. But when it comes to Thymeleaf, that is not possible because we are inherently working with a .html file. There is no way that we can actually place a text format in a HTML file. So we do have two different files for both the views. So let me just like explain through the shared entry in HTML file. So as you can see, this is just a basic HTML file. Like it looks how a HTML file should look. And then we do have Thymeleaf elements embedded in it. Like for example, this div th replace. So if it has a prefix th colon, it signifies that it is a Thymeleaf element. So as you can see, what it does is it is just replacing the header from like the header, whatever is needed from a different file. So this is basically a fragment. What it does is replaces the div element with a header, whatever is given there. And then when it comes, we just go in, there is a div element with all the styles. So as I said, we are using inline styles now compared to the internal styles before. So you do have to mention your styles in like every single tag that is there. And as you can see, we use this th colon text tag to show the variables, to set the variables. So SS sharer is a variable that is being set in the backend, and to display it, all we have to do is it enclose with the dollar and the flower brackets. We don't have to use any special function or like something different. So doing this would be sufficient, and it would just display whatever is needed. So the same goes with reference tag, and that's how it is being used. So this is a Thymeleaf if block. As you can see, if there is a comment, this block gets invoked. I mean, this block turns true, and whatever is inside gets displayed. So as I said, every single element or tag does like need its own inline style, and we need to ensure that it is being set over there. Uh, as you can see, then comes the footer part. As I said, there's a Thymeleaf fragment, and the footer is defined elsewhere. Let me just show it to you. So this is the Thymeleaf footer. As you can see, we mentioned the name over here, and this is the text footer. We do not have any information for now. It is for the customers to customize and enter whatever is needed. So if you just enter whatever is needed in the footer or header HTML file, it should automatically be present in all the default templates that are out there. So let me just show like a bit of the backend code, what is being worked on. So as I said, we do need to set two files. Here we are setting the .html file. We are processing the .html file. Now here we are processing the .txt file. So as I showed, there are variables being set in the template, and we have updated the methods for that too. As you can see, there is a method to set every single context that is there. Just show it. So it is similar to whatever Velocity was doing, and just a glance at it, you should be able to understand whatever is happening. As you can see, the SS visitor variable is being set over here. So whatever variable that is needed in the front end and needs to be processed in the back end, you can just use this to set it over there, and that would actually be it. It's not very complicated, I would say. What is complicated is, as you can see, this is a follow email digest template. So this is one of the more complicated templates that I've worked with. One problem that I encountered over here is that in follow email digest VM file, we could directly invoke methods like select nodes, and then right after that, we can use this thing called attribute value. The problem with this is select node returns a type of nodes, like a node element, and then attribute value is not present in the class of a node. So it is present in the parent class of a node. So Velocity, for some reason, was directly able to fetch it like that, but Thymeleaf wasn't able to do that. So what we had to do was we typecasted the node to list type, and then we just set the folder entries variable. So functionality wise, there is no change. Now it is more uniform. Whatever logic needs to be handled is being handled in the backend. As you can see over here, this is the folder entries variable. So we are fetching it from the X path, that is //folder/folder entry. After fetching it from the X path, we are moving the stream and we are mapping it to an element. So the element type is what has the dot attribute value method to fetch whatever attribute value that is there. Like for example, we need attribute called action icon link. So this facilitates to fetch whatever that is required. So functionality wise, there is no difference. It should work the same way how previously Velocity was working. The only challenge, I mean, I wouldn't call it a challenge, but it is like a new change, I would say, is when you guys want to implement your own new custom templates. So that is when you would like to look at how Thymeleaf is working and then design it according to that. And that itself is not hard. As I said, the file itself is HTML and a text file, and it should be easy to do it. Let me just give an example of a text file that is being used. So shared entry invite HTML file is what gets sent to one man. What gets sent over here, whatever you're looking over here, is the HTML part, the HTML view. When it moves to plain text, this is the plain text file view. I'll just show you what is. As you can see, this is the shared entry invite.txt file. Everything is the same. Over here, you just enclose the variables in a parentheses and a square bracket, and this uh, this part of the code is what is replacing the Thymeleaf fragment. So as you can see, even over here, even in a text file, we can embed fragments or like a if block or a for loop, whatever is needed. The the syntax changes a bit, but it is not hard. Everything is available, and it should be easy for you guys when you want to implement your own custom templates. So actually, that would be it from the backend side. Let me just continue with the presentation. If any doubts, you can please ask in the Q&A section. So as I said, let me just conclude it. As I said, Thymeleaf really does not change much. Functionality wise, everything remains the same. All templates, all emails work as they should. There should be no breakages. So the only problem is right now, Velocity and Thymeleaf are working in parallel. So if you have your own Velocity template or like your own custom template, it should still work till we remove the backend. We still haven't removed the Velocity code, so it should still be working. So if you guys do have like a custom template, it is better to migrate it to Thymeleaf, as in the near future when there is a Spring upgrade, we would need to remove the velocity code so that everything works properly. So as I said, functionality wise, there's no change, and the main reason is to move to newer version of Springs, and we use inline styles now rather than internal CSS. And inline images can be embedded within the image now, whatever images that you need, so that when you send a mail, it ensures that it is able to fetch the image properly, and there is no like breakage or the image loads properly. So that is the main reason we are trying to use inline images. So as I said, the email templates will be revised, and everything will be changed in the upcoming as there are new designs that are coming from OpenText. So that would be it from my side. So yeah, guys, any doubts, anything, any concerns that you guys want to address? I would like to just with that.
Okay, there's some questions here. Chris is asking, can you use HTML editor for editing the templates rather than just a text editing in a text file? I assume an HTML editor you'd be able to use as long as it understood the extended tags that you're putting in.
Yes, as I said, it shouldn't really matter. You can use any editor that you need. It's just necessary that you upload the files like in the directory that is needed, or like add it through the admin console. It should be able to fetch and work however it like fetch and work as intended. So it doesn't matter you use HTML editor or a notepad or Visual Studio Code, anything that you need, it shouldn't affect the template in itself.
Okay, that's great. What else have we got? As far as the variables concerned, John's asking, does that include the phone number for a user? I think what he wants to do is just put in his message to an external user saying, if you've got problems, call whatever on this number. Is that exposed as one of the variables you can put in there?
Right now, the template does not have a phone number field or a variable, but it is something that can be implemented. Like, for example, if Tyler does have your phone number, we can have a new logic in the backend, fetch it, and then set it in the template. Or if you just want a hard-coded value, you can just type it right in the HTML file, and it should work. So that is not something that is hard. So that can be implemented.
Okay, that sounds good. Can't see
Maybe
any
we can
other.
do a dump of all the variables that we set for each of those message types, right? Then that can
Yes.
can we
As I showed, let me
document
just
that?
show it again. As you can see, we just set the variable. So this visitor is present in the template. and this visitor is getting fetched from the backend using our own logic. So as I said, you can fetch and you can set any variables that you want. So as long as you write the code or have the logic in the backend, it should be easy to implement. It shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, great. With the this is a question from me here.
Yes.
With the current velocity templates, some of the text that's included is coming from the messages file, which is the old text strings file. Is everything just going to be embedded in the, all the text going to be embedded in the template itself now, or are we still going to be bringing some text through from some other file, string file? And if so, is that the messages file or a different file?
As I said, the HTML file, like the HTML view loads through the HTML files, and the text view, the plain text view, we use a plain text file, .txt file. So whatever is needed, the logic remains the same, only the syntax changes for the plain text file and the HTML file. We do need two different files for both HTML view and the plain text view. So as I did mention before, the plain text view will be coming from a .txt file with the same name.
Yeah.
Like for example, we do have data quota alert notification .html. So this will give you the HTML view of the email that is there. And this data quota alert notification .txt will give you the plain text view of the notification that is there.
Okay. Right. I can't see any other questions. Can you, Mike? That are relevant? Do ask questions, because
At the moment,
if you've got any, I can't see anything to do directly with this. That was very interesting. I can see how that improves tremendously on what we've got at the moment. Certainly, we get asked about the inline graphics quite a bit. You may have noticed on my template, I did a image with the data tag, but some mail clients don't like that. So having the inline messages will make a big difference there.
Yes.
Okay, I think in which case, once we've finished that, if there are any general questions, then do ask in there. Girish, did you want to show your the changes on the shared with me option?
Oh, sorry, I was sort of thinking you probably.
I know you just pinged me. Do I want to share it? I think I've overwritten that code, unless it's
Okay.
my patches on that I've been doing update, unless it's included in the online update code for 24.4.
Okay, let me see if I can bring that up. Sorry. Can I grab the screen share if you don't mind?
Yes, I'm just passing on to you. So Kevin is asking if this is the last major blocker to Spring 6. As far as I know, yes, this is probably the last major blocker that is there or that was there. So according to my knowledge, it is.
Yeah. Right. So this is something that needed a change, but we have not completed the work, so we will probably figure out if there are any other things that we need to actually look at. So most probably not, but we will figure that out. Let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, so Robin, please let me know once you can.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Okay, so I have also messed up with my environment here, but we'll see if it's still working. So this is my Filr environment, and this is pointing at the data on NSS volumes. And this is, as you can see, is a 24/3 server, but with additional changes, of course. So I have logged in as a user, and this user has access to several areas. So they have my files, and they have net folders, and as well as there are files that are shared with this user. And for the sake of simplicity, I have named the folder with the same access level as it has been shared with this user. So as you can see, there are some folders that are actually coming in with the contributor right, and there are other folders and files with different levels of rights. So one thing that we have been asked in the past is that the desktop client, with the desktop client, a user with who has the contributor rights against a share have the ability to copy or move files around, which is not necessarily possible with the web client. So what we have tried to do is exactly that. So we are trying to provide you with an option to move as well as copy, either one of that. And when you do hit the move operation, because this user has a contributor rights under this folder, so they get move operation. And whereas if they go into another location where they have only the editor permission, they no longer can move the file because they don't have the contributor rights. So, but they can still copy the file. I believe this also had some issues with being able to copy as well. So let me go back into this and contributor folder and see if I can move there's a couple of files that I've selected. So when you do try to move, so you have the option to move into various areas. In the past, you only could move into either my files or the net folders, but now you would also see that you can actually move into the shared with me area as well. So if you go into the shared with me area, you cannot actually move directly at the top level of the shared with me area. And also you cannot move into the folders that are that in which you don't really have the contributor permissions, right? So you cannot create an entry in a folder where you only have editor or viewer rights. So the tool will recognize the folders on which you have contributor rights and then only list those. So you can move into that, or you can do the other way around as well. So you can move into another area altogether. So I can just move it here. Okay, sorry, I think probably that already has that file, but you get the idea. So that's what you can do. So you can do the same with the folders and the files and everything else in between. So you can also do the other way around. So if you are in here in a my files area, or if you're in a net folder area, you can actually still move them into the shared with me area. So as we saw earlier, so it would only list the folder where we have the contributor permission. And let's say I go into this and I just create a demo folder and move it inside that. So it would just work like that. So if I can go inside that and demo, so I can see those files coming in there. So I think now probably do the opposite and move it under the my files under recents, let's say. So the folder is now moved out of the contributor folder under the shared with me area. So this is something that has been asked by a large number of you. So, and we are hoping that this change can be included or incorporated soon into the Filr release, one of the Filr releases. So that's about it, Robin. So thanks for giving me that time.
Can you just do me a favor there and log out?
So just one moment. I would just silent the notification. So sorry about that. Okay, let me log out. Okay.
Okay, so you haven't got the other thing on there, which
okay, sorry.
yeah. So that may be worth just asking what the feeling is around that.
Right. So, and we have noticed this in the ideas portal and as well as when we talk to some of you. So there is a strong opinion about these marks here, symbols, and I recognize that as plus. But I think some of you are recognizing this as a different religious symbol. We would definitely want to know, like, what's your opinion? And do you want to keep these plus symbols here, or do you want to completely get rid of them? Uh, uh, which would make sense for you, because uh, it is not actually going to significantly change in the load time of the login page. In the past, we had the animations which would have actually taken a little longer to load, but the fact that we don't do any animation now, so it's just gonna load in there with the same amount of time. Uh, um, we're not gonna save time there, but for sure, like if there are strong feelings about not wanting to see as somebody put it across as the graveyard. So we could kind of like knock it off. What
Hopefully, everyone's aware you can get rid of it at the moment if you wish to. In that you can edit the CSS file which has that in and hide that. I believe, Kyle, didn't you do a TID around that?
Just unmuting. I think I did. I'd have to go look, but yeah.
There is a TID out there about how to get rid of those plus marks.
So if there is a larger consensus that we don't want this, we can actually sort of like go about completely removing it for all customers. But yeah, anyway, do let us know what you think about it. There is also an ideas portal entry where you can leave your comments as well about this. So we'll take action on that.
Okay. Chris is just making a comment. I know this is an idea that's got a few votes on the ideas exchange as well. Just saying that when you move or copy files, the dialog box that pops up shouldn't really start at the root of the folder structure. It should start in the folder that you're currently in, because otherwise, if you're 10 folders down and you want to just move a file to a subfolder, you have to navigate down 10 folders to, or 11 if it's a subfolder, to actually move that. Whereas starting at the top level can be a little bit frustrating.
Okay, so just so I understand this better, so what you're recommending or what you're suggesting is that when you actually copy or move here,
yeah, you're not at that level. You're in the folder test to begin with.
Got it. So
yeah,
if we just,
which is to me, I find it very frustrating when trying to move a file to a subfolder or something, having to come all the way down to do it. So I feel your pain, Chris.
Okay, got it. We'll take a look at that. Thank you.
I think Kevin's just, I assume, commenting on the signs, saying, isn't it consistent across all open text products, which I think it is, that we've got those plus signs there.
Yeah, I mean, there are actually a couple of versions of the login page in the open text. Depending on at which point we actually got onto this UX aspects, the library that we are using from the open text design team. There are different versions of login page that different products are using, but those that got along around the similar time will all look like what Filr is looking like. I think even probably, sorry about that. So maybe even the UMC on the OES side probably has a similar, yeah. So this is in fact UX Aspect Universal, which is the latest. Yeah, so you're right. There are a large number of products that are actually using the similar login screen, but there are other variants of login screen that we can switch to.
Okay. I'm guessing Bob has just posted a link to the article on how to get rid of the pluses, and Bob is claiming authorship of the item. So let me put repost that to everyone, so you can see the link to how to get rid of those pluses. I assume that's what it is, Bob. So you're posting. I've also in the chat window posted the links to the webinar recordings that are up on YouTube. So if you want to re-listen to this, you've got that there. I've also posted the OES and group-wise recording links as well. But unfortunately, I think we're at the end of our time today. Thank you very much to everyone for attending. And hopefully you've learned something today and you like what you've seen. Thank you so much to Satya for that wonderful demo of what we've got replacing the velocity side of things. I think that will be a lot better. And thank you to the team we've got behind the scenes who've been answering some questions. So hopefully we'll see you next week and next month on the Filr update webinar. I think next week we've got the group-wise webinar, hopefully you can find the recording if you need to. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.